So I did Mighty Morphin Power Rangers recapped in under 10 minutes. I might as well do Go-Go Power Rangers because Go-Go Power Rangers is the prequel sequel to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in a way. So what exactly is Go-Go Power Rangers? Well, Go-Go Power Rangers is a comic book series released by Boom Studios that ran from June 2017 to June 2020. Written by Ryan Parrott, and later Sina Grace came on board to assist with the writing after Shattered Grid. So the concept of Go-Go Power Rangers is that it follows the original Rangers' personal lives after they became Power Rangers and before the arrival of Tommy Oliver. And what you get with this comic is you get to explore the teenagers just becoming Rangers and trying to get adjusted to their lives. But not only that, you get some insight to their past as some issues will open with flashbacks. So with these flashbacks, you'll get flashbacks of Jason when he first met Zach, or Billy that you find out that he used to be really good friends with Skull, or even going through the past of Kimberly and found out how she dealt with her parents' separation. Not only that, we also learn about Rita Repulsa and her past, but not only that, getting a glimpse of her childhood, but also seeing how she recruited each one of her minions. Now, if you want to read Go-Go Power Rangers for yourself, you can find it digitally online, physically at a comic book shop, or you can buy the trades, or even the deluxe hardcovers, because supporting the official release is very important, and I highly, highly recommend checking out these comics for yourself. Now, with that said, let's talk about Go-Go Power Rangers. So before we talk about the main story, I want to dive into each one of the Rangers and their backstories we learn about in the comics, like I mentioned earlier. Now, starting with Jason, a lot of people remember Jason in the TV show as this heroic leader. He never backed down, always did the right thing, but when he was younger, he was actually a little shitbag. He claimed that he was almost as bad as Bulk and Skull, but eventually he changed his way and he found discipline through martial arts. Billy, back in the day, like I mentioned earlier, used to be really good friends with Skull, but eventually that friendship drifted away. Also in Go-Go Power Rangers, you see Billy getting offered job opportunities for companies like Promethea, and even his dad buying a Volkswagen that would later get turned into the Rad Bug. Now, Zach's past is kind of interesting because it ties into Kimberly's a little bit. So, Zach used to be a busboy at a restaurant, and during this one time you had Kimberly there along with her parents who were going through the early stages of their divorce, because if you don't remember, that was kind of a plot in the TV show of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers back in the day. Kimberly's parents were splitting up and she was going to move away, but she ended up moving in with Aisha. That was a thing if you don't remember. But because of this altercation at the restaurant between Kimberly's parents, Zach ends up getting fired from his job, and he ends up giving Kimberly the nickname Salad Girl from when next time they meet. Now, bringing it back to Kim, so in Go-Go Power Rangers in the early issues, you see in real time when her parents split up and the effect it has on her, because you have both parents trying to win her over and essentially fight for her affection. But in Go-Go Power Rangers, you actually also find out that Kimberly used to date this guy called Matthew Cook. Now, Matthew Cook will play an important role in the comics later down the line, but he was the guy that used to date Kimberly before Tommy showed up. Now, Trini, we see a little bit of her past. We see that she used to live in Nashville, Tennessee, and even when she was younger, she was all about pushing past her limits, because you see her trying to outrun a fighter jet before it takes off. But also because her father was in the Air Force, they would have to move from base to base, so she never really had a chance to adjust, make proper friends, or even start a relationship. Alright, so that's some added backstory to all 5 of the original Rangers. Now, getting to the main story, because Go-Go Power Rangers opens up after Day of the Dumpster, and the Rangers have just had their battle against Goldar. But the Rangers are soon called to a mission on the moon as they need to rescue some astronauts. Now, do you remember those astronauts who freed Rita Repulsa in episode 1 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Well, in the comics, they're soon captured by Rita, and Rita is trying to interrogate them for information about Earth. Now, I feel like now's the best time to mention this, but Rita in the comics does not mess around in Go-Go Power Rangers and in the main Mighty Morphin book, because she's on some serious shit here. She's almost as evil and sadistic as her Sentai counterpart. If that's saying something, because Bandora was out to kill kids in Zyuranger, but Rita in the comics, she is calculating, she is menacing, she is out to get those Rangers and fuck with their personal lives, but not only that, make sure they suffer. So the Rangers go to the moon and they come face to face with Rita and her forces. Our heroes are very new to this Ranger stuff, but they're able to rescue the captives and return safely to Earth. But this is where Rita hatches her next plan. So while the teenagers are doing their community service thing, I don't know if you remember that, but in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the kids were a part of the cleanup crew. They're about saving the environment, stuff like that. I feel like that's part of Power Rangers that a lot of people forget. They were pretty much goody two-shoes trying to save the environment. They would shoot that horn into the show every now and again. But they're soon attacked by a monster, but this is all a distraction because Matt is soon captured and held prisoner by Rita Repulsa. And what Rita's plan is here is to use a putty as an infiltrator by disguising themselves as Matt to get close to the Rangers. Now, remember how I said that the Rangers were very new to this stuff? Well, one of the people who feel like they're not fit for the job is Billy. And Billy has this moment where he feels like stepping down and letting Matt be the Blue Ranger, which is wild because if Billy actually went through with this and actually stepped down and let Matt become the Blue Ranger, well, that wasn't Matt who would have became the Blue Ranger. It was the putty pretending to be Matt who would be the Blue Ranger. But eventually Matt escapes and he warns everyone during homecoming with what happened, and the putty's cover is soon blown. Enraged by this, the Rangers soon fight this putty and we get this awesome Megazord battle between it. Now, after the battle, things somewhat return to normal. Matt has post-traumatic stress from what just happened and he's gone off the grid, but not only that, he's gone into a bit of a conspiracy mode because he thinks that he's tied to all of this Ranger stuff that's been happening recently because he finds a way to get himself wrapped into it. But while the Rangers return to their somewhat normal lives, a new threat is lurking in the shadows and about to appear. So the next story arc is a tie-in to Shattered Grid, and we're introduced to the Ranger Slayer. Who is Ranger Slayer? Well, Ranger Slayer is Kimberly from the world of the Coinless, the world Draken is from. So after losing everyone close to her, Kimberly goes to confront Draken, but is easily defeated, and Draken soon brainwashes her, turning her into the Ranger Slayer. Ranger Slayer's goal is to bring Draken back, because if you don't remember, during the first encounter with Draken in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Kyle Higgin run, Draken was sent to the main timeline in the universe for the comics, so Ranger Slayer travels back in time to find him. Unfortunately, she goes too far back in time and ends up in the wrong timeline. So Ranger Slayer is freaking amazing. I really do love her Ranger form. She's sort of got this evil version of the Pink Ranger. She's got this tattered cape on her which looks really badass as well. Not only that, she's got the Bow of Darkness, which is a really cool weapon within itself. Much like how Tommy had the Sword of Darkness when he was evil, she's got the Bow of Darkness. But of course, Ranger Slayer has her own Zord, known as the Grave Zord. And the Grave Zord is a kit-bashed version of the Thunder Zords, the Tiger Zord, and the Shuttle Zord. And it looks really freaking badass, really menacing as well. But not only that, the Grave Zord can combine with the Dino Megazord and make the Mega Grave Zord. So Ranger Slayer appears in the wrong timeline, and the Rangers have to deal with it, and of course they get their asses kicked. But it's really cool to see Kimberly come face to face with her evil counterpart, because you have Ranger Slayer making fun of Kimberly how she used to be, where Kimberly would be always quipping and making jokes. But eventually, we do get a Ranger Slayer versus Kimberly showdown, or a Kim versus Kim showdown you could say, and Ranger Slayer is eventually freed from Draken's mind control and becomes a good guy. And she enjoys the simple things. She enjoys hanging out at the juice bar once again. She enjoys having a peaceful life, but that all soon changes once she sees Matt and she starts sort of reliving those traumatic events again, because Matt in her timeline died and unfortunately she has to live with that pain. So what Ranger Slayer does is she visits Tommy in this timeline, and what she does is she shoots him with the green chaos crystal, and what this does is it sets up the future events for the finale of Shattered Grid. Now Matt also runs into Ranger Slayer and figures out who she is, leading him to discover who Kimberly in his timeline is, figuring out that she's actually the Pink Power Ranger. Now Ranger Slayer does try time jumping once again, but it leads her getting discovered by Grace Sterling, and this will become important later on once again in the finale of Shattered Grid, but not only that, carrying into the storyline after Shattered Grid, Beyond the Grid. Now, while this is going on, there is this subplot happening with Jason, where Jason discovers that his father is very sick, and he's lied to his family about it. Now, looking back on it, it's very interesting from a story perspective, because Jason has his secrets about being a ranger, and he keeps that from everyone else. But then you've got Jason's dad, who is keeping secrets from everyone as well, because he doesn't want to upset his family, he doesn't want to hurt them, but Jason's father has got this medical issue that might kill him, and he's very upset that he hasn't brought this to the family's attention. Not only that, he's hiding it from his mother. But Jason soon gives him advice that he heard from Zordon, and this slowly mends the relationship within the family. Now, the Ranger Slayer arc in Shattered Grid kind of ends on a downer. Matt confronts the Rangers at the juice bar about their secret because he's figured it out. He knows they're the Power Rangers, and gives them an ultimatum. Tell me the truth or we're done. He promises not to tell anyone about their secret, but because of Zordon's rules where they can't reveal their identity to anyone, the Rangers just go silent and they don't say anything, even while he's pleading and begging for them to tell him the truth because he doesn't like his close friends keeping secrets from them. But like I said, the teens go silent, ending their friendship with Matt and ending his relationship with Kimberly. So now we enter the Color Swap arc, and the Color Swap arc lasted from issue 13 to 16 of Go-Go Power Rangers. So once again, things are somewhat normal for the Rangers. They're still fighting monsters, they're still going through high school, and of course, Rita launches an attack on the Rangers, and Trini and Jason ended up getting separated from the team as they're sucked into a portal, because this is the first time that the Rangers have been separated from each other within this part of the story. So they end up on a planet called Breel. Now, Breel has some history, because it's a planet that Rita once conquered, but she also hid something very important here on the planet, that being the Dragon Coin and the Dragon Dagger. So how did Rita come across the Dragon Dagger and the Dragon Coin? Well, many years ago, she hired a thief called Lorian to steal the items from Ninja, and the thief was very successful, but they tried turning on Rita as they wanted to sell the power coin for themselves to make themselves some money. But not only that, try killing Rita in the process. Unfortunately, they failed and Rita quickly defeated the thief, and as punishment, she chained them up in this chamber where they eventually starved to death and became nothing but a husk of a skeleton. Now, Jason and Trini are separated from the others, but on this planet, it has an effect on their powers, making them swap colors. And here is where we learn that each color of the Ranger suit grants some different abilities. Black gives you enhanced strength, blue gives you enhanced intelligence, yellow gives you enhanced agility and speed, pink is more of a balanced stats, and red, I guess red gives you strength and all of the stats combined, but higher. It's not really explained properly. I guess red's the best because, you know, Red Ranger. Now, I failed to bring this up earlier, but Trini and Jason have kind of a thing for each other, and being alone on a planet, they soon confess their feelings to each other, and after this story arc, they soon start dating. Now, meanwhile on Earth, you've got the other Rangers trying to find a way to rescue their teammates, but also they've got to cover them in their daily lives because, you know, Jason teaches karate classes, so you have Zach covering him on that. But then also you've got Kimberly trying to get research papers from Miss Appleby, but you find out that somehow Trini and Jason have already uploaded their assignments and handed them in. Now, who this mysterious person is doing their homework, you'll soon find out in the next story arc, or at the end of this story arc, but we'll get to that character when we get to him. So in the last story arc, you had Matt breaking up with Kimberly, and to get back at Kimberly, you have Matt flirting with all these different women, and right in front of her too, and it's kind of a heartbreaking scene for Kimberly because you can see her biting her lip as she's still not over Matt, she's still trying to get over him. And one way Kimberly tries to get back at Matt by going on dates herself. Well, who does she go on a date with? Well, none other than Skull himself. This is a dream come true for the guy. Now, the scene where Kimberly and Skull go on a date is probably up there with one of my favorite moments in the comics, because you have this scene where Kimberly offers Skull a chance to kiss her and she leans in for a kiss, but the dude outright refuses because dude knows he's on the rebound. And he knows what Kim is going through. because she's trying to put on a brave face and deal with the pain, because he says his mother did the same thing when they were younger and his parents split up. So Skull refuses the kiss because he doesn't want his first moment to be like this. So this is up there with one of my favorite moments in the comics. I mean, not only that, it adds a lot of character for Skull to show that he's not just this like bully that just tags along with Bulk. He's a dude and he actually feels for people. And him having one of these humanizing moments makes him a great character in the comics. But that's where the date ends for the two of them, and it ends kind of on a sad note. But props up to Skull, because Skull had a really great moment here. Now I feel like it's a good time to bring up Rita's minions and their past, because the comics expand on their backstory and we learn a little bit more about them as Go-Go Power Rangers, but not only that, other comics continue. So let's start with Finster. Now, Finster's backstory is explained and touched upon in the annual, and what we find out that Finster, of course, he's a sculptor, he's an artist, and he thrived on perfection. And he thrived on perfection so much that he got kind of a little bit dark and isolated, and he ended up striking his wife and killing her. This drove him into madness where he tried recreating a clay sculpture of his wife, but he could never get it to be perfect, and eventually he ended up joining Rita. Now, Goldar's backstory we also learn about in one of the annuals as well, where we found out that Goldar used to have a brother called Silverback, and they were elite warriors who served Zed. And with Goldar's race, after each victory you have in battle, you get a new piece of armor. And one day, Lord Zed told Silverback and Goldar to say, hey, go spy on Rita Repulsa. I think she's up to something. Go work for her and feed me information about what she's doing. And Silverback refused. He said he'd rather work for Dark Spectre. And because Zed didn't like this betrayal, he wounded Silverback and told Goldar to execute his brother or he'd kill the both of them. So Goldar, of course, killed his own brother, and he followed Lord Zed's orders and went to work for Rita. Rita soon discovered Goldar and said, hey, I'd rather have someone who has potential, not just a spy, and if you work for me, you can avenge your brother and get revenge on Lord Zed. So that's when Goldar made a blood oath with Rita and swore to work under her. Scott, we find out, has been with Rita ever since he was a baby, as when Rita was conquering planet after planet, they would offer a tribute, and when it came to Scott's planet with his parents, they didn't really have anything to give, and what they offered Rita was a baby. Rita seemingly probably executed the parents as she sees them and had the putties take them away where their fate is left unknown. But Squat has been with Rita for the longest time, and the two of them have this sort of like mother and son bond, you could say, where Squat has stuck with Rita through thick and thin, and that's something that comes up in the final arcs of the Power Ranger comics where he's still at her side no matter what. Now, Babu used to be an alchemist for the planet Pongi, and the king had heard that Rita would be invading, so he ordered Babu to make a potion that would make them invincible. Now, Babu didn't have enough time to prep the potion, but the king demanded it anyway, and because the potion wasn't ready, it turned them all into stone. Now, the remaining people on the planet viewed Babu as a traitor, so they chained him up and left him to rot. Babu was ready to die right there and then, but Rita soon saw his loyalty to his people and offered him to work for her, as long as he had that same loyalty that he had towards them for her. Now, throughout the story arc, while Rita is on the planet Brill, you have Babu planting the seeds of betrayal into everyone, trying to sort of conjure up this plan to poison Rita. And what this plan actually is, this is like a plan within a plan. So what this was Rita testing everyone to see who's loyal, because when they're at the big banquet, Rita goes to have a drink, but everyone warns her saying that Babu tried to poison you. And of course, Babu confesses that it's real. He did try to poison her, but this was all part of Rita's test, like I said earlier, to see who was truly loyal. Now, the color swap arc ends with Trini and Jason being saved by the other Rangers, and we get this epic fight scene between the MMPR team swapping colors using the different weapons and fighting against the Brill forces. Now, Rita does escape, but when they arrive back on Earth, Trini does tell Zordon that she sensed something wicked that Rita had, and whatever that is, she says that it can't be good and is coming for them. Meanwhile, on the moon, Rita puts into motion her next plan, creating her own Power Ranger. So Rita is trying to activate the powers of the Dragon Coin, but because the coin's been dormant for so many years, it doesn't exactly work. Think of it like a battery. It's lost its juice after a couple of thousand years. So with some witch-like sorcery, she brings her own mother back to life. Now, in the previous story arcs of Go-Go Power Rangers, we've explored a little bit of Rita's past before. We saw how she conquered all those planets, we saw how she recruited each one of her minions, but in this story arc in particular, we dive into the birth of Rita, but not only that, we see a glimpse of her childhood. There is also a one-shot in the hardcover that covers her teenage life, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But we learned that Rita's mother was a woman called Fianna, the previous husband to Master Vile. Now, Rita was born on a planet somewhere out in space because Fianna wanted to hide Rita from Master Vile with what he was becoming. And the one person that was there to witness the birth of Rita was Zordon, and Zordon promised to keep Rita safe. Now, Master Vile wasn't always Master Vile. He used to be a human called Eldon, a researcher that studied the artifacts left behind of the Morphin Masters, and with one of the artifacts they found, it allowed him to peer into the future. Now, Fianna would see Rita yet to be born as Mystic Mother, but when Eldon looked into the future, he saw their child as an evil witch, and a voice called out to him. That voice would be Dark Spectre, and slowly Eldon would be corrupted by the voices of evil, turning himself into Master Vile. Master Vile would hunt down Fianna and Rita throughout the reaches of the galaxy, eventually finding them and killing Fianna, taking Rita, and he would corrupt Rita's mind with evil, setting her up for a new purpose to be a vessel for Dark Spectre. Now, we do dive a little bit into Rita's life as a teenager, where we see that she was quite the artist, and she drew a couple of pictures. Some of the pictures you see are some of her dress designs, but not only that, her magic wand. But while Rita was training with Master Vile on this planet, she befriended a boy called Enu, or Inu, however you want to pronounce it. And Enu's parents was the leaders of a resistance force that was fighting against Master Vile. Now, Rita was developing the secret friendship with the boy, and it was probably even developing into a relationship, but this was all a ploy so Master Vile can kill him, but Rita's the one who takes upon this opportunity and turns him into a ruby. This same ruby would be the one that you see in Rita's wand to this very day. So Rita's ruby inside her wand, it's made up of a person, which is kind of messed up. So Rita is able to revive her own mother and bring her into this world, but she manipulates her own mother by saying that Master Vile is coming and she's in danger, and she needs the power of the Dragon Coin to make sure that she's safe because Zordon is no longer here. Fianna, of course, believes this and tells Rita that the power coins are locked behind Zordon and the Morphin Grid, but depending on the circumstances and if a worthy person rises to the challenge, well, the power coin will unlock itself to let that person be a ranger. So Rita's plan, of course, is to kidnap a few people, find a worthy sacrifice, and unlock the power of the Dragon Coin that way. Fianna overhears Rita's plans for world domination and confronts her, and the two get into a battle between magic and spells, as Fianna believes that she failed her daughter because she believes that Rita was meant to be the light, and Rita believes that her mother abandoned her and her father was the one who showed her the way, showing her that she learnt the true wonders of the universe, while Fianna was trying to protect her and make her weaker. So you can see that Rita was easily manipulated by Master Vile to sort of go down this road of evil that you see where she's at right now. So during a battle against one of Rita's monsters, the Rangers are soon saved by Alpha 1. Who is Alpha 1? Well, he's the original Alpha unit that was built by the people of Edenoi to assist Zordon in the war. Now, during the battle that Zordon fought in, Alpha 1 was seemingly destroyed, but he eventually was found, he repaired himself, and made his way back to Earth. Now, When Alpha 1 and Zordon reunite, it's kind of a happy moment, but he also does things on the side, like trying to convince Zack and Billy that Zordon is holding the Rangers back because he's worried about their safety and he's not letting them reach their full potential in this war against evil. Now, Alpha 1 does eventually turn against Zordon and plans on killing him because he believes that Zordon has gotten weak. He believes that Zordon is weak because Zordon never escalated this battle against the war because he believed that Zordon was scared to get blood on his hands, but Zordon's response is that he didn't want to go that far to kill his opponents because he was afraid that if he killed them, then he'd be turning like them and there'd be no turning back point for him as well. And you can literally see that because there's a scene where Alpha 1 is literally about to execute Goldar, and he would have almost done it unless Trini didn't intervene and actually stop Alpha 1 from delivering the killing blow to Goldar. So a Megazord battle initiates between Alpha 1 and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where the Rangers are just barely able to defeat Alpha 1, but Alpha 1 gives the Rangers a warning, saying that there has been many other Rangers who have come and fallen before, and if the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers aren't careful, they'll end up just like them. Meanwhile, back on the moon, Rita decides to take matters into her own hands. Fed up with Goldar's failures, she clips his wings and then turns her sights on her own mother, sacrificing her and putting her essence into the Dragon Coin to recharge it. But before Fianna is killed, she tells Rita that there is still good in her and someday she will be redeemed. Several weeks later, Trini and Jason decide to break up because they believe that if they're in a relationship, it could be something that the enemy might use against them, so they just decide to remain to be friends. Rita offers Zack a chance to become her Green Ranger, but Zack declines and tells Zordon about this information. Matt and Kim apologize to each other and their friendship slowly recovers. Billy has begun embracing his nerd side, Trini's hair has grown out and it's much more longer, and Jason prepares to enter a karate tournament as he faces off against the mysterious new kid. And that is where Go-Go Power Rangers Part 1 ends. 1 year has now passed and Tommy Oliver has now joined the team. Lord Zed has now taken over the Moon Palace and the Rangers now have their Thunderzords. So whereabouts in the timeline are we? Well, right now the story takes place right after Greed No More. Tommy has lost his powers again and leaves the team. But before he leaves his friends, he thanks them for treating them like family and giving him the chance to be a Power Ranger. One night while Jason is training, he's visited by a mysterious figure, the Blue Emissary. Who exactly is the Blue Emissary? Well, the Blue Emissary is part of the Emissaries, entities who represent the Morphin Masters. The Blue Emissary appears before Jason because they might need his help, because after rebuilding the universe after Draken destroyed it, the universe once again might be in danger. Now, after Shattered Grid, everyone had their memories wiped about the events, and the universe was reset. So the only encounter they remember with Draken is when they first encountered him at the start of the Boom Studio comics. The Blue Emissary prepares to restore Jason's memories as Jason witnesses the battle on the moon they had against Draken. Now, Jason comes face to face with the ghost of Draken, or a illusion of Draken, and he's barely able to win, but he soon hears a voice calling out to him, a voice of threats to come later down the line. While this is going on, Billy is talking to Zordon, and although everyone's trying to think of a plan how to restore Tommy's power coin once again, things aren't looking so good. Zordon even says that he's trying to track Rita's signal out in space, because maybe she might know a way on how to recharge the coin. Billy is overall worried about Tommy losing his powers, because if Tommy can lose his powers, then it could happen to any one of them, and that's what scares Billy the most, that if Tommy could lose his powers, then any of the Rangers could have their powers taken away from him. But Zordon reassures Billy by saying just because Tommy isn't the Green Ranger anymore, doesn't mean he won't always be a Ranger. Trini, who's doing volunteer work for a daycare center, has one of the pet rabbits get turned into a monster by Lord Zed. This makes her step away from the job at the center because Lord Zed is targeting things and places she cares about, and not wanting anyone to get hurt, she can't have that on her conscience. And the Rangers have this discussion together, but Kimberly tells everyone the best thing they can do is prepare for the threats so they can protect everyone. So after this we get an intermission. So issue 24 and issue 28 of Go-Go Power Rangers take a break from the mainline story, but they also do have some tie-ins to the plot. Issue 24 is a Bulk and Skull story, trying to get a scoop for their Power Rangers podcast because the other podcast they're competing with is getting all the views, so they want to get up close and personal to a Zord battle. They want that fame and fortune. But another group of teenagers get caught in the battle, and Skull goes to rescue them. One of these characters would end up being Candace, who would later become Skull's girlfriend and play a very important role in the Eltarian War. Issue 28 is a Rita Repulsa focused story, along with her minions getting a little bit of side content as well. And what we see is Rita going through her rehabilitation when she was in the dumpster for all those thousands of years, and one of the things that the dumpster does to her is that she lives out all these lives of the people that she's conquered. So she lives their life from childhood up to sort of being an adult to old age. And when they reach old age, it's when Rita comes to invade, so they see face to face what Rita did to those people. And she's meant to do this over and over again until she's reformed. So this is one of the things we see in that one shot. Alright, now jumping back to the main story, we're now entering the White Light saga. Tommy Oliver is out at his uncle's cabin training and just beaching around until he's teleported and brought into the command center by Zordon, being offered a second chance to become a Ranger once more, but he'll have to take a trial to see if he's worthy. So yeah, this is one of the things that the comic adds to Tommy being the White Ranger. He's sent on this journey to find the White Light to see if he's worthy and pure of heart, coming face to face with Zed as he's offered a chance to join him, and of course Tommy refuses and passes the trial. While this is going on, Jason and the Blue Emissary are trying to find more team members. The Emissary says they can use their powers to locate warriors across the universe, but Jason refuses, saying that wouldn't work, believing it should be a team of people who know each other, because once before, Zordon tried putting together a team of Rangers who were strangers, and it didn't end well for them. Zack and Trini soon walk in and discover Jason and the Emissary, and they start wanting answers, but their answers will have to wait as Nimrod is attacking the city. The Rangers jump into battle, but their Zords take a hell of a beating and they're forced to retreat. Now, Tommy soon makes his appearance as the White Ranger and joins the team once again, but Zack and Trini soon have their memories restored about Shattered Grid. Not wanting Jason to do this alone, they decide to join him on his journey to restore the universe. So Tommy is now the White Ranger, and that now makes him the leader of the Power Rangers. But after a battle against El Grey Matter, he gets hit by one of the attacks, and it makes Zordon wonder if Tommy is ready to be the leader of the team just yet. Because Zordon explains in the comics that they planned on making Tommy the leader, but without an explanation to Jason, they were just going to do it. Because Tommy holds the White Light, the strongest connection to the Morphin Grid, and they want to use that connection to unlock the coin's full potential. But because Tommy made this one mistake during the battle, it does put some doubt in Zordon, but Jason reassures Zordon that Tommy will be a great leader and everything will be fine. Now, if you don't remember, Austin St. John, Walter Jones and Tweed Trang left Power Rangers due to pay disputes. If you're a hardcore Power Rangers fan, then you probably know the story by now, but if you're a fan of Power Rangers and you haven't heard the story before, which I don't know how you wouldn't have, it's something that's talked about to this very day, and if you haven't heard of it, I say look it up because there's a whole saga. But because ASJ, Walter and Twee had left the show, they had to recycle a lot of old footage from them in different episodes to make it seem like they were actually in the episodes themselves, if that makes any sense. But the comics make use of those fumbles that the TV show had, and they use it to have Trini, Jason and Zack go on their big space adventures. Trini, Jason and Zack soon find themselves on the planet Kuja, where they find an alien being chased by their own people. This alien's name would be called Akia, and she's recently had her powers awakened after the events of Shattered Grid. And being unable to control those powers, she destroys a village. The Rangers rescue Kia and decide to take her along, and she'll end up joining the team, where I'm sure that choice won't have any consequences later down the line in Necessary Evil. None at all. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Lord Zed sends his minions into Promethea to retrieve the Psycho Green Dagger, while Billy, Tommy and Kimberly battle against the monster outside, and we get another epic original Zord combo, that being the White Tiger Mechazord, a combination of the Promethea mech and the White Tiger Zord. Now, luckily, the Psycho Dagger isn't the real Psycho Dagger, and Lord Zed is very upset about this news, and he prepares Serpent Terror. So the final issue of Go-Go Power Rangers ends on the power transfer, and before the power transfer even begins, you have this moment outside of the command center where Tommy tries talking Jason out of doing the power transfer because he knows that he's losing 3 veteran members that would be a massive blow to the team. Not only that, he believes that Jason is scared and terrified of his actions and the choice he just made, knowing that he's made the wrong choice because if he planned on telling him that he was going to the peace conference, he would have told Tommy face to face and he wouldn't have to discover about this information on the news. And just by looking at this confrontation, you can tell that Tommy is upset because he's losing 3 important friends and team members, but he also has that doubt if he's ready to lead the team. The power transfer goes ahead like planned. Rocky, Adam, and Aisha become the new red, yellow, and black Rangers of the Mighty Morphin team. Now remember how I said that Billy was upset that Tommy lost his powers and he's worried that it could happen to any of them? Well, after witnessing Lord Zed destroy an entire planet with Serpent Terror, he turns to Grace Sterling to make a deal with her. That deal would be the creation of a brand new Green Ranger. Jason, Trini, and Zack and Kia become Omega Rangers, inheriting the powers after they've been dormant for so many years. Meanwhile, back on Earth, you've got the Stone Canyon Trio still training with the Rangers on Earth as they know they've got a long road ahead of them. But Tommy has a chat with the Stone Canyon Trio saying that he knows what it's like to be new, how scary it can be, and that how he's lost his powers twice and he ran away from his problems and almost didn't come back. But Tommy reassures him that they'll figure this out together. They soon get a message from Zordon that a monster called Danger Dingo is attacking Sydney, Australia. Meanwhile, out in the depths of space, the Omega Rangers prepare to fight one of the Empowered. Both Ranger teams jump into battle, and that is where Go-Go Power Rangers ends. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire story of Go-Go Power Rangers. What did you guys think? Tell me in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It'd be much appreciated. With that said, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, and bye.